What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the No Cap Space. Tyler here, calling the ISO because we got some news fresh off the presses. Unrivaled has released the rosters for their inaugural season. 34 players revealed, 2 wildcard spots remaining of just players that have not been signed yet. We do know what teams those players are going to be on. We don't really have any indication as to which players those will be. Obviously, there's been so much talk about a couple players, including some quote-unquote messy deals. We will see. We will see. There is no indication of anything like that. But today I want to just dive into the rosters. You can find the print version of this as well on the Substack, which you can find in the link below in the description. And let's just talk about what's fun about these rosters, because that's what's really exciting to me about Unrivaled, is that we're going to be seeing teammates that have never been teammates before, old teammates getting back together, new combinations, new style of basketball, and this is condensed 3x3 style of play. I'm excited to dive into this. Let's just talk and let's just pull up the rosters itself. The draft, let's kind of break down how this roster selection went. You had 6 coaches that we'll also talk about here as well a little bit. And each player was divided into a pod, and they went pod by pod, deciding which players would be on what team, trying to build the most even teams possible, because these coaches did not know which team they were going to be coaching when building the roster. They found that out afterwards. So it's kind of a cool way to do it. Probably the most fair way to potentially do it. It did start off with Pod E, with the bigs over here: Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Alyssa Thomas, Breanna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and Satu Sabali. They just kind of went down the row and which makes sense. So the W is a very big, dominant league. It makes sense to kind of get them out the way. Some of your best players, I mean, I'd argue 3 of the best players in the league, definitely 2 at minimum, with Stewie and Fee. Get them on a team, and you can kind of build from there. But these rosters came out interestingly, in a way where both deciding where the wild card spots were going to go. Like I said, there is no public indication of who these players are going to be. If there was anything in-house, it certainly didn't seem like it. They had a whole video with the draft and everything, which I'll also in the description below, so you guys can go find the full kind of draft, roster selection, everything, and get the insight from the coaches, because it really was a cool 22-minute video that gave you that insight. But let's dive into the actual rosters itself, starting off with Vinyl Basketball Club is this first one. Arike Agumbawale, Ryan Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Jordan Canada, Ray Burrell, and De'Erica Hamby. First off, several Sparks, or former Sparks, I guess, here, half the team. What's interesting to me here is that this team, notably also, will be coached by Teresa Weatherspoon, the former coach of the Chicago Sky. The very first thing that pops out to me here is both Arike and Ryan being on the same team. Just very similar archetype of player when it comes to just being a ball-dominant scoring guard. Not there's anything wrong with that. It's just you don't normally have 2 of the same of those on a team. And this was something that was discussed in the Unrivaled video where they're building the draft out. And interestingly, the aspect and emphasis on player development in this is super intriguing to me, because this was kind of part of this decision, was Arike and Ryan get a chance to learn how to be next to a guard that is similar to them in this way. So that's something that I thought was super interesting, just hearing them outwardly say that. But it makes sense to kind of give them, if that is one of the goals of Unrivaled, this is certainly a place where they can both grow, especially if Arike Agumbawale has a certain guard coming in at the number 1 spot that people are going to, want to share the ball with. So that's super interesting. And then also, I mean, Aaliyah Boston and De'Erica Hamby are incredible. Just had all WNBA caliber seasons. There was an argument to make for both of them. And seeing them paired up with these players is also going to be super fun. And Jordan Canada is going to have just the time of her life facilitating, like truly. There's so much offense on this team. I'm intrigued. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting challenge for Teaspoon to kind of navigate with 2 ball-dominant guards in this way, and figuring out how the best way to do this. And obviously, it's just a different game. We're going to see how the style of Unrivaled develops in a 3x3 full court, but condensed court, and figuring out how this works, because I think a lot of it is going to be everyone learning as they go. and us included, honestly. So it's going to be interesting just across the board from Unrivaled, not even just Final Basketball Club in specific, to see how this game develops and how certain player types excel more than others potentially. Moving on, Rose Basketball Club, Chelsea Gray, Kalia Copper, Angel Reese, Brittany Sykes, Lexi Hull, Azrae Stevens. Not to simplify this, Chelsea Gray is going to be passing Angel Reese. That sounds fun. That sounds very, very fun. And I can't wait to see that. I'm also interested just in general with Chelsea Gray, like if the lack of people on the court, if that just extends windows for her passes. And if we get new passes that even Chelsea Gray hasn't done before on a basketball court, where she's already, it was like invented about 17 different passes that we haven't seen before on a basketball court. Now she gets a chance to do it here as well. And Angel Reese is going to be one of the biggest benefactors of that because, oh my goodness, Angel already gets up the court super, super well. And that's not even getting into a player like Ka that certainly can get down the court and cut as well. Brittany Sykes is a great cutter as well. Like, these are just players that are going to benefit so much from Chelsea Gray's passing ability. And I'm really interested in seeing how the 3x3 environment changes or maybe emphasizes the passing ability that Chelsea Gray does possess in opening up these windows a little bit more for her. Not that she really needs a big window anyways, but that's what I'm kind of getting at, where it's like if she's already doing it in 5v5 in this way, what's 3-on-3 going to bring? So I'm super excited about that. And also just Angel Reese just being able to have a passing guard in this way, potentially similar to an Olivia Miles. I'm just saying. So a really interesting place for Angel to get to experience this in this way, and should be massive for the growth of Angel as a player. Next up, Miss Basketball Club, Jewel Lloyd, Dejanay Carrington, Breanna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, Rakia Jackson, and Aaliyah Edwards. Phil Handy is going to be the coach of this team. And he is one of the most notable player development coaches in basketball across the board. He's done a lot of work on the men's side. He's worked with Chelsea Gray before. He's worked with Juju Watkins before. Pairing Rakia Jackson and Aaliyah Edwards with Phil Handy and Stewie to learn from and grow from might be dangerous for the future of the WNBA. The amount of growth and knowledge that can be taken from Stewie as a player and as a basketball mind, Phil Handy as a basketball mind, and just his skill set and experience in player development seems so incredibly fun. Like I said, there's been such an emphasis on player development in Unrivaled, and I'm so interested in seeing what glimpses we catch of things in Unrivaled that becomes aspects of growth in the WNBA, especially for a lot of these younger players that are participating in this. And I think that for Rakia and Aaliyah, this is such a perfect opportunity to do that. And I'm so incredibly excited to see that. And also, looking at some of the vets, Stewie, Vandersloot, Jewel Lloyd, the team that could have been in Seattle, even the team that could have been. But it's going to be super dope seeing Stewie and Jewel Lloyd going after a ring again, chasing a ring together. And Dejanay Carrington as well is just like, it's going to be interesting even from her perspective, potentially the offensive bag, which we've already seen grow over the past couple seasons. There's some buckets on this team that she can learn from as well, both from kind of the guard and the forward perspective. So I'm super excited to see if we see some growth from there as well. Moving on, we have our first wild card spot here with the Lunar Owls. Skylar Diggins-Smith, Alicia Gray, Nafisa Collier, Natasha Cloud, wild card, Shakira Austin. This wild card doesn't move me a ton, and I'll get back to that when I talk about the next one. I tell you right now, what I'm excited about, and I need to know immediately, are there reviews in Unrivaled? Because if so, this team is going to average the most finger twirls across the entire league, no doubt in my mind. Watching Skylar Diggins-Smith and Natasha Cloud on the same team bouncing off each other and the energy that they're going to be able to bring is going to be so incredibly fun. Just watching them going kind of dog for dog and just seeing who has the most dog on the team. Electric. I'm here for all of that. Also, Nafisa Collier in a 3x3 environment seems perfect. Like if you're building a player that can just kind of do it all, can lock down, can shoot the three, can rebound, like it's Nafisa Collier. So she set the table for herself play style wise in a way that is super intriguing to me. And obviously Alicia Gray has had a bunch of 3x3 experience as well in the past with Team USA. So this team is a very, very interesting one. Obviously the wild card will kind of help direct and see just how far we feel like this team can go. And with only 6 players on each team, having a player missing right now obviously is a big deal. Like I said, we haven't really been indicated as to what player is going to be filling these 2 spots. So we're just kind of have to wait and see, honestly, on those, and we'll be here to talk about it. This wild card spot, though, for Phantom Basketball Club is the one that interests me the most, and I'll tell you why. Phantom Basketball Club has Jackie Young, Marina Mabry, Satu Sabali, Tiffany Hayes, wild card, and Brittany Griner. What this means is that the Phantom Basketball Club is the only team in Unrivaled without an all-WNBA player from the year before, from this past season in the W. Could they be looking to fill this with an all-WNBA player? I'm just saying. There's no background information on that. That is pure theory. But it would make sense, huh? Spread the wealth a little bit, huh? I'm just saying. But even without that, there's all WNBA talent on this team. Jackie Young, Satu, BG, all WNBA talents, 100%. Tiffany Hayes was just 6th Woman of the Year as well, so coming off a good season for her. I'm just very intrigued by this one, this wild card more so than the first one, because the first one is you had Nafisa Collier on your team. Like you're pretty well set in terms of that. But Phantom Basketball Club just does not have that all-WNBA player in the immediacy. Like I said, there's all-WNBA talent, but not an all-WNBA player from this past season. I could think of a couple that could fill in that spot. Last up, Laces Basketball Club, Kelsey Plum, Kayla McBride, Alyssa Thomas, Courtney Williams, Kate Martin, and Stephanie Dolson. Alyssa Thomas and Courtney Williams have been gifted the gift of spacing. There's so much shooting on this team surrounding them. And we know Alyssa Thomas and Courtney Williams, they love the mid-range. They love the post. They love getting to the rim. And they are going to be surrounded. At all times, there is going to be at least one knockdown shooter in their midst. And it's going to be super interesting to see how they can kind of use that in order to help maybe alleviate some like the condensed court, or maybe that condensed court will help them. Like I said, with the play style of Unrivaled, there's still so much to learn and to find out. So I'm not even necessarily making a judgment on how they will, I guess, move over from the W in that way. But regardless, we know that they play better when spacing is around them. And they are going to have that. Like I said, there will be at minimum at least one knockdown shooter at all times for the Laces Basketball Club on the court next to Alyssa Thomas and Courtney Williams, who are also running back as teammates, which is fun. But Kate Martin as well as a player to potentially grow next to a Kayla McBride, next to a Kelsey Plum, like these shooting guards that have been around star players. Obviously, Kelsey and Kate, teammates with the Aces as well. Like I said, these young players, this is just such a fantastic opportunity for them to grow. And I'm just interested in seeing because realistically, Unrivaled is a short amount of time. I don't know how much immediate growth we will see within Unrivaled itself. However, what I do think we're going to see are the flashes, are the sparks that kind of turn into fires in the WNBA when it comes to player development, player growth that starts in Unrivaled. And then by the time the W season comes around, there's been a couple months in between. Then we see the W season start up, and we see maybe a player like Rakia Jackson doing some Stewie type things that, hey, we know where you learned that from. And so I'm really excited about that and to see. But ultimately, all these teams, like I feel like they did a pretty solid job across the board of keeping these teams relatively even. Obviously, there is just players that are better than other players. Like, it's not going to be exact, but I do feel like they did a pretty solid job. They made fun, entertaining rosters here. I'm excited for it in this way. Let me know what you're most excited for across the board with Unrivaled. And stay tapped in here with everything No Cap Space. We're going to have you with Unrivaled. Conference play will be starting in the new year as well, so we'll have you with that. This weekend, I'll be boots on the ground in Los Angeles for Notre Dame, USC, and South Carolina, UCLA, so we'll have you with coverage from the games itself this weekend, two of the biggest games of the entire season, especially early on. So stay tapped in with everything. No cap space. You can find all the links down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.